Which are the best and worst oils to cook with for your health? In today's video, I give you the 5 best and 5 worst. Roll the titles.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As always, just a quick reminder that I'm now offering the SIBO, organic acid, stool tests and consult via my website. So if you have any health or digestive problems, then consider taking these tests as they will provide a lot of very detailed information upon which you can start making informed decisions and then start getting your health back on track. And on that bombshell, to the video. Now, before we jump into the oils, I want to heavily caveat this video with a number of clear statements. Oils are predominantly neither good or bad for you, and let me clarify what I mean here. So some people say olive oil is good for vitamin E, for example. Vitamin E RDAs vary around the world from 3 to 4 milligram up to around 15 milligram per day, depending on the country. So 1 tablespoon of olive oil will give you around 1.9 milligram of vitamin E, so you can't really say olive oil is good for you as it doesn't contain a lot of nutrition and you would need to eat a reasonable amount of it. And then you are offsetting the benefits with some of the potential risk factors that we will get into shortly. Equally, because most people who eat a healthy diet will maybe use olive oil to cook with sparingly, then I would say in the grand scheme of things, it is unlikely to cause longer term problems. As with anything that's health related, it's all about context and there is a tipping point for everything. When talking about oils, there are lots of variables that you will need to consider when assessing whether it could cause potential issues, i.e. the types of predominant fats contained in the oil. So are there more saturated fats, or are there more monounsaturated or polyunsaturated fats? We also need to consider the manufacturing processes used and the smoking point of the oil and so on. So you have to understand the landscape of oils before you can label any oil potentially problematic. You have also got to look at your own health status when assessing whether maybe you should be eating oils in your diet. So do you have diabetes or do you have advanced heart disease? So for many, it's not a clear-cut decision. And the final statement that I will make before we jump into the oils is that I don't use oils for cooking with personally. It's not because I heard on the internet that oils are bad, it's simply because I just don't like the flavour of adding oils to my foods. You have to make your own call based on your own circumstances and also the facts, and not simply on the fear-mongering found on the internet. I have made a few videos talking about the potential harms of oils in the body and the gut, but these harms are obviously caused in many situations when a person is consuming too much of these oils, and this could therefore apply to many foods in this context if you're eating too many of them. The main oils that I would try and avoid eating at higher levels based on growing concerns within the literature are soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, sesame oil, grapeseed oil, safflower oil, and also rice bran oil. The rule I also try and follow in life is that I try and eat as close to whole foods as I possibly can. And every now and again, if I stray into slightly more processed refined sugars, fats, or proteins, then I'm not going to sweat it. In the grand scheme of things, there are much bigger worries out there in the health landscape. And on that note, let's quickly look at the oils. So I will start this list of 10 oils with the top 5 oils that I would suggest that you probably shouldn't use if you are cooking foods at higher temperatures, and I will get into temperatures shortly. Now, these 5 oils to consider avoiding cooking with are flax oil, sunflower oil, sesame oil, peanut oil, and also grapeseed oil. So smoke is obviously created when an oil reaches its smoke point, and this is the point at which the fat in the oil is breaking down and also degrading. The point at which an oil hits its smoke point is the point at which much more free fatty acids and harmful free radicals are formed through the process which is known as oxidation. This is essentially different chemical reactions that involve oxygen that degrade the quality of the oil and lead to rancidity. The easiest way for you to remember it is when an oil hits its smoke point, more rancidity and more chemicals and toxins are produced that can find their way into your bloodstream and cause a number of potential problems. So number 1 is flax oil, and this comes from the flax plant, and it contains 50 to 60% omega-3 fatty acids in the form of ALA. So this oil doesn't contain a lot of saturated fat, which is obviously good. This oil, when unrefined, has a low smoke point of 107 degrees Celsius or 225 degrees Fahrenheit, so for many cooking situations it's not ideal. So this may be an oil that you wish to consider adding to something like a salad or salad dressing. The next oil to consider is sunflower oil. Now, various studies around the world have shown these types of oils contain anywhere between 0.56 and 4% trans fats, which have been shown to be highly toxic in the body. Unrefined sunflower oil also has a smoke point of around 160 degrees Celsius, which is around 320 degrees Fahrenheit, so just think more rancidity and more compounds that you don't want getting into your body in higher amounts. Next on the list is sesame oil. While sesame oil contains around 82% unsaturated fatty acids, it is particularly rich in omega-6s, which can be inflammatory in the body when consumed in higher amounts. This oil has a smoke point of 177 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So given the omega-6 ratios and the low smoke point, it's really not a great choice for cooking with. Peanut oil was next on the list. This oil has a breakdown of around 20% saturated fat, 50% monounsaturated fat, and 30% polyunsaturated fat. Unrefined peanut oil has a smoking point of around 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, this oil tends to be higher in the omega-6 fats that can trigger inflammation in the body when eaten at higher amounts. The final oil that I would recommend avoiding cooking with is grapeseed oil. It has a ratio of around 10% saturated fats, 16% monounsaturated fats, and around 70% polyunsaturated fats. Again, this oil tends to be top heavy in the omega-6 fats, and when you combine this with the fact that it has a low smoke point of around 216 degrees Celsius or 421 degrees Fahrenheit, then again it's not a good choice for cooking with. So now we've got the avoidance list out of the way, let's consider the 5 oils that may be a better choice for cooking with. Again, just a heavy caveat, I'm not saying these oils are particularly healthy. The oils that I would put in this list would be avocado oil, coconut oil, corn oil, soybean oil, and also olive oil. So if we start with avocado oil, it's around 70% monounsaturated fat, 16% saturated fat, and 14% polyunsaturated fat. Avocado oil also has a smoke point of around 270 degrees Celsius or 520 degrees Fahrenheit, so it tends to be much better for many different types of cooking, such as frying or sauteing. Virgin olive oil that has not been refined or blended with other oils also has a reasonable smoke point of around 210 degrees Celsius. Now, while this is slightly lower than some of the other oils on the avoid list, trials have shown that olive oil doesn't break down into as harmful compounds like some of the other oils, as the smoke point is not everything that you need to consider. Olive oils contain a blend of around 14% saturated fat, 73% monounsaturated fat, and 11% polyunsaturated fat. The next oil that I would consider more suitable for cooking with would be coconut oil. Coconut oil can have a smoking point of around 232 degrees Celsius or 450 degrees Fahrenheit due to its high levels of saturated fat. While you obviously don't want to consume a lot of saturated fats in your diet due to their known health risks, a tablespoon of coconut oil contains around 13.6 grams of saturated fat, which is less than half of the 30 gram recommendations given to men around the world. The recommendations for women are around 20 to 25 grams. So you can see the use of coconut oil can be used in the context of a healthy, balanced diet. Next up on the list is corn oil. Corn oil is composed of up to 60% linoleic acid, which is a polyunsaturated omega-6 fat. Corn oil, depending on the processes used to produce it, can have a smoke point between 230 to 238 degrees Celsius or between 446 and 460 degrees Fahrenheit. Soybean oil is the final oil on this list that is a better choice when cooking foods with. It has a smoke point of around 234 degrees Celsius or 453 degrees Fahrenheit. In terms of its composition, soybean oil is around 61% polyunsaturated fat, 24% monounsaturated fat, and around 15% saturated fat. So in summary, there is no such thing as a good or bad oil. There are many variables that you need to consider, such as its smoke point, the amount that you are consuming, the amount of saturated fats and omega-6 fats contains, your health status, and so on. So for many following a healthy whole foods diet, then consuming small amounts of certain oils would still fall in line with health recommendations around the world. So look at the totality of your diet, your own health status, and not just all oils are bad just because the internet says so. So that's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to check out this one up here because I'm sure you'll find it equally interesting. And the only other thing that's left me to say is to remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.